Hi, how has it been? It's been such a long time. Hello, we're back with an art hang with me. Hi, how are you doing? Are you having a good day? Yeah, I've been gone for like 4 months. It's been a while, and I really need to come back and, start doing content because my initial plan was to post weekly. Like, I was gonna be posting videos every Friday, but then May just kind of hit me straight in the face. A lot of unexpected stuff happened. I talked about it in the stream last Sunday. Yeah, a lot of crazy stuff happened. I'm gonna be telling you a little about what happened, like the short version of the story. And also, hey, this is what we're doing today. So first I'm gonna talk about what we're doing today. So I haven't practiced my art for real in like a really long time, and I wanted to do something original with no reference that would really challenge my skills. So this was what came to mind. I don't know, I just saw this picture in my mind of like a small fairy person just with a head like a flower, like a marguerite, and sitting on a leaf. And that's just kind of what I wanted. A little person with a flower head sitting on a leaf. And I was like, you know what? I actually think I'm gonna do that. And that's what we're working on. Since I was doing this without a reference, it kind of sucks. Like, I know it does. It kind of sucks anatomy-wise. I know it's not my best, but it's been a long time since I actually practiced anatomy, so give me a freaking break, okay? So, since I was concentrating on the coloring rather than on the anatomy, I was not too worried with how terrible the anatomy would be. I wanted the flower on her head to really stick out, and I wanted the background to be really green. So I wanted the background to be like grass, and she would be sitting on a leaf, right? So I started to play with color palettes. I wasn't sure exactly what kind of greens I wanted to use. At first, I thought about using really warm tones of green and contrasting with like a cool tone for her skin or a more muted tone for her skin. It wasn't really working. I was not feeling it. I played a lot with the palette. It took me a very long time to find colors that I was satisfied with, and then I took a lot of time trying to get the feeling of her face sort of okay, decent. Like, I knew the anatomy was not gonna be good because I was not using a reference. I just wanted to like test my coloring skills. I mean, it's not the best, and I decided to just give her 4 fingers on her feet and on her hands rather than 5, because this is not a human. That's also one of the reasons why the anatomy is a little bit funky, because I did not want her to look like a human, because she's not a human. She's like a fae person with a flower head, so obviously she was not gonna be very human-like. So I just went for 4 fingers, and I wanted like a lithe, not very classic proportions body, just kind of weird. That reminded me like of twigs, of the stems of leaves and flowers, that kind of stuff. I started to feel like, you know what, I'm gonna leave the work on cleaning up the sketch. It went great. I mean, it could have gone better, but again, it was mostly going to be a challenge for me. I was not trying to do it perfectly. I was just like doing my best. But yeah, so as I work, I'm gonna be telling you a little about what happened in May and why I took such a long break. Because a couple of people have asked me like, where did you go, man? And so the short version of the story is that there were about 3 crazy things that happened to me in May, and I had a lot of things to do. A lot of things. Like a lot of things to do. And right after those 3 things were done, I was just so burnt out, and it was the beginning of June when everything was over, and I was so burnt out I just could not bring myself to work on anything else than homework. Than the minimum. I was just really burnt out. I was exhausted. I was barely sleeping, and I couldn't. So that's why I took a break. See, what happened is that in May there were 3 events that I had to prepare for. One of them was entirely unexpected, so I'm gonna be telling you what happened. First, there was a fair, okay? There was a fair, an art fair in my college, and I wanted to participate. I wanted to sell some of my stuff, I sold mostly like jewelry, a lot of charms, keychains, backpack, keychains and charms, that sort of stuff. I sold quite a lot, honestly. I was really surprised that it went so well, and I'm really glad and grateful that it went so well. The fair was around 4 or 5 days long, and I had to prepare 2 weeks beforehand to have all the products that I needed to have ready for selling. And so I needed to prepare for the art fair, and we were going to be at the fair those 4 or 5 days from like 8, 9 o'clock to 2, 3 in the afternoon. So it was a long time, and I needed to have products ready. So it was 3 insane weeks of working. I barely slept. I pulled so many all-nighters. I was so fucking tired all the time. And then right after that, I had to work on a comic for a contest. So I barely had any time to rest because I only had like 1 week left until the deadline. So I worked insanely fast. And well, I didn't even make it to the deadline, which was frustrating. And it's a long story. I explained it in the Twitch stream from last Sunday. It's still on the Twitch. So if you want to go watch the whole explanation and the art stream from last Sunday, it's right there on my Twitch channel. And yeah, so there was a comic contest, and the other thing that happened, the third thing, which was entirely unexpected. I was not expecting it at all, and it just really came at me. And the thing is that I had the honor of being chosen for a Japanese studies program in Japan. Whoa! So yeah, I'm going in September. Wee! I'm going to Japan in September. It's gonna be great. Hopefully, hopefully, it's gonna be great. I'm gonna be taking classes and basically touring a lot. I'm going to Tokyo and to Kyoto and Hiroshima. And I'm really excited that I'm going because it's my first time going to Japan. It's actually my first time going to a freaking entirely different continent on my own. So I'm pretty excited, low-key kind of terrified, but I'm pretty excited. It's in September. It's from like the 6th of September to the 20th. So I'm gonna be pretty much gone during September. So everything that happened in May. Like I was chosen for the Japanese studies program and the comic contest thing and the fair. I basically overworked myself to the bone and I was really burned out. June, I basically just spent trying to recover my energies and just work on homework because I had so much homework to do. Because June and July is when my semester ends, so the teachers just start piling up all the final projects and it goes a little bit crazy. But we were fine, I passed all my classes with pretty good grades, let's say, so yay! We did it! We survived! Yeah, that is what happened. And it was a bit crazy, honestly. I was having an insane time, but it was fine. I mean, it was fine. It was fine. Yeah, it was okay. It was okay. So, you can now see that I'm starting to work on base colors. And I don't know, I was still playing with a palette. Like, I was just experimenting. I wanted to be very careful with what I was doing, but mostly I wanted this to feel more like a painting. So for the whole thing, I actually used the acrylic paint brush that you have in Procreate. I had never used it before. I hadn't even noticed that it was there, honestly. So that's what I used for this painting. I wanted this to feel more like a painting. I wanted to try to imitate the normal paint that I work with when I'm actually working on canvas and paper. I wanted this to feel similar because it's easier for me to make paintings if it feels like a real brush and real painting. I know how that works, but in digital it's entirely different. But actually, since I found this acrylic paintbrush in Procreate, since I noticed that it was there, I mean, it went great because this brush to me feels a lot like normal paint on canvas, and I was like, whoa, I think I could actually work with this. So that's pretty much the brush that I used for the entire work. I pretty much used that one, and then I just used like a normal filler for base colors, and that was it. I just pretty much worked with the acrylic paintbrush, and I don't know, I improvised a lot, which is why it took me a fucking long time to finish the painting. I think it took me like 8 hours. I'm not sure, because I worked on it throughout a span of different days. Like I worked on it like 4 or 5 days, 6 days, I'm not sure. And it maybe was like 8-10 hours. It took me a long time to decide on the colors and stuff like that. Like every time I sat down to work again on the piece, I was like, this is not looking right. So every time I sat down, I changed something, I tweaked something, and it took a long time to finish it. But I think we did pretty good. You're gonna see the final result. I worked on shadows. I wanted the light to come from behind her and to the right, so I tried to bring in some contrast. I wanted the flower to be particularly dark because it's in shadow, stuff like her legs. I worked on trying to bring in some blush to her face, to her skin, bringing in some life to her skin so she didn't look flat. And mostly, man, I changed the green tones so many times, because at first we were working with a really warm canvas, but I felt like the flower was overshadowed because everything was warm toned. The greens were too warm, and everything just kind of looked the same, and I didn't want it to look the same. Like, sure, I wanted her, like the little fairy person, to sort of camouflage with everything, because she's just kind of part of the nature. She was part of the plant, almost, but I didn't want her to just disappear in the background because the colors were so similar. So I tweaked the grass background so many fucking times because it just didn't feel right. I tried to bring in some of the light. I worked like a maniac on the flower. I really wanted the flower to feel like a flower. I worked on a lot. I worked on the creases of the flower, the little wrinkles, and I worked on the freaking pollen. I was crazy enough to draw every single little dot of pollen. And I don't know, for a moment I thought I could do rain, but I was like, no, never mind. I don't like it. Too busy. Because then you would have had like the straight lines of the grass and diagonal lines across and the diagonal line of the leaf, and it was just too much. But man, working on the flower was kind of crazy of me because I drew every single little dot of pollen. Like, why did I do that? But it looked fine. It looked kind of cool in the end, so I guess it's fine. I did well. I tried to darken, areas, where there would be no light, like her legs, her chest, and the part of her face that was out of the light. And the more I worked, the more I felt like there wasn't enough contrast, so I ended up darkening the shadows a lot and the background a lot. And then I really intensified the light, like, whew. I really worked on intensifying the light. I think I worked on an add layer, like tons of add layer, and then like a color dodge layer to really bring in the color of the light. And you can see that the way that it looks in the end, the leaf ended up looking a little bit more blue than her, so she stands out better from the composition. Initially, she was just kind of fading into it. And even though there was a point when I felt like, hey, I think we're almost finished, I was like, I think this could be better. And I still think it could have been better. And one of the things that I changed last minute to like really bring in that light and shadow forth was that I erased some of the line art sketching that I had done exactly where the light was brightest, and it did such a big difference. Like, and it's a thing that actually I've seen many other artists mention, that if you're doing line art or sort of a line art sketch thing over under your painting, you should erase it where the light is brightest. So I did that, and well, it really brought out the light. It was like a miracle. It made me so happy that it was working so well. It went great, honestly. I tweaked the greens so many times, but in the end, I was satisfied and I blurred the background, so we really were able to focus on the girl. Darkened the shadows, I tweaked them a little, and we were done. I added my signature, obviously, my little stamp. And wow, I was so surprised by what happened, by how it looked. I'm really glad that it went so freaking well. I was so scared that it wouldn't go well. This was a challenge for me. I did not know where it was going. I didn't know how it would turn out. It was really hard for me to get through it. I worked on it for like 2 weeks sparingly because I was just scared. It was intimidating. I wanted to bring in a lot of detail and a lot of shadow and light. I wanted to do a good job, so I was kind of terrified. I think this is my first digital painting that is aiming for a realism style, so it was definitely intimidating, but hey, it kind of turned out okay. So I'm really glad, really happy that it went well. And yeah, this is what we did this time. We worked on this Faye. I wanted her to be sort of like a plant person, Faye person, you know? Half flower, one with the nature, and yet still separate from it in a way, independent. So yeah, that's what I wanted to do this time. And wow, we're back. Technically, I'll be trying to upload every Friday from here to September. I'm gonna be recording videos on time. I'm gonna be pre-recording a lot of videos for August and September since I'm gonna be gone. So I'm gonna be pre-recording and hopefully uploading all those videos on time, weekly as always, on Fridays. I hope you enjoyed this silly video, just like a recap of the things that have happened lately. Mostly me talking nonsense. And this insane painting that I worked on, and I'm really proud of it, even though I still feel that it could be better because I'm still bothered by the arm and the feet because they don't make a lot of sense, but it's fine. I think the colors turned out pretty good. I did my best at what I could at the moment. It was a challenge to myself. I was trying to, I don't know, see how far I could go just silly with how much I've learned lately. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I know I've been gone for a while, but yay! Well, yeah, we're gonna be having weekly videos, and see you later. Bye! Have a good day, afternoon, evening, night, whatever it is, wherever you are. You know the drill. Bye! Thanks for watching.